All right, let's talk about 68 RFEs and what expectations you should have out of a built 68. Maybe this will help somebody not make the same mistakes that I did. Maybe help somebody save a little bit of money, not waste money, because I feel like I wasted money. Should have gone a different route. Went with a built 68. Got about 40,000 miles on it and already had to refresh it. C2, this is what I believe is a GPZ clutch. You can see the lines. Those lines are for oil cooling. The oil gets in there, cools the clutch when it's not applied. Obviously there's no heat on the steel. Clutch didn't slip. The clutch had no problem holding the power. The clutch is just made out of a soft material and wears quickly in a 68. The way they shift overlap, clutch on clutch style transmission. It's not a good place for a soft clutch material. They're not having issues holding the power. The issue is getting it to last. When I bought the transmission, I was really hoping I'd get 100,000 miles out of it, and it's just not the case. And refreshes aren't cheap either. C2 didn't fail. C4 is actually what failed in my transmission, and by fail I mean just wore out. There's a little bit of heat. It did finally slip. No lines left. Lots of clutch gone. A little more heat, more clutch gone. A little more heat. Some of the steels actually did warp once it did start slipping. But once again, the slip wasn't the cause of the failure. There's an apply piston that goes down in this assembly right here. There's a spring that goes on top of here that forces the apply piston back down when fluid is not being sent to the apply piston. What happened is as this clutch wore, this assembly got thinner, so the piston had to come up more to hold the clutch. It actually came up to the point where the seal blew out once it passed this groove and no longer had any clamping force on this clutch, and that's when it slipped. It was as worn as it was still holding the power. The truck that this was in makes 750, and it was holding it fine. It just longevity wise it's just that GPZ clutch it's just too soft for a 68 in my opinion. So what I'm getting at, I guess, is that I feel like there should be more information for people to help make a decision on which route to go when they start talking about spending money on a transmission on a 68 truck. These are the overdrive underdrive clutches. They're made out of a different material. They were holding the power just fine. They're a harder clutch, so they're lasting. They're holding up. There's very little wear. I measured them compared to the new clutches. There's not a whole lot of material missing out of these clutches. Single-sided, so from what I understand, single-sided clutches typically don't handle heat very well, and there's virtually no signs of any kind of burning or slipping. So the clutches in the overdrive underdrive are the ones that everybody slips in the factory transmissions. I'm assuming that with this material they're rating a build around 550. Don't hold me to that. But apparently there's a need for GPZ clutches in C2 and C4 on a 700 build anyway. The low reverse is that I don't know if that's what they would call an alto clutch, but it's definitely a harder material than that gray clutch. Low reverse doesn't see a whole lot of action, I don't think. It's applied in park, reverse, neutral, and first. But we're not gonna dive into it too deep in this video as far as what I feel like the alternative where I should have spent my money. At the time, 48 swaps were kind of becoming popular. I didn't want a 48. I don't want 4-speed. I want a 6-speed. I tow a lot. Drive spiritedly, I should say. I don't race the truck by any means. I put the truck together to tow trailers and do that well, not drag race. So my understanding is that if you buy 850, you're gonna get a different drum for the input. It's going to have GPZ clutches throughout, and it's probably not gonna last very long. They're definitely not gonna put this clutch material in the input drum on a higher horsepower build than the 700. But like I said, we're just trying to get a little information out there. I feel like this was a waste of money. 40,000 miles, transmission came back out. Spent roughly $2,000 on a refresh. So I'm just between the downtime and waiting on parts and getting this thing refreshed, I'm just not able to do it anymore. This 68s have been a pain in the ass in this truck, and just fed up. So anyway, that's all we're trying to do here, is just inform people that, you know, your $10,000 68 isn't going to last 100,000 miles. Not without some maintenance, not without spending some more money. Peace out. Have a good day. Like, share, subscribe, you know, whatever.